Your car has a 100 kilowatt hour battery, so why is your house still dark in an outage? Because vehicle to home isn't plug and play, and sometimes a $6,000 charger beats a $15,000 battery, and sometimes it's the opposite. So look, 2025 is the first year where V2H actually went mainstream. Like you can walk into a dealership, buy a Kia EV9 or a Ford F-150 Lightning, and the salesperson will literally tell you it can back up your house. Kia's shipping the EV9 with the Wallbox Quasar 2. GM's got their whole energy bundle thing. Ford's had the Lightning set up for a while now. It's not vaporware anymore. This stuff is real and you can buy it today. But here's what's confusing everybody. The marketing makes it sound like you're getting a free battery. Like, hey, you already bought a $60,000 EV with a 100 kilowatt hour battery. Why would you spend another $15,000 on a Powerwall? And honestly, that logic kind of makes sense until you dig into the details. Because what nobody tells you is there's permitting, there's your electrical panel, there's the whole what happens when your car's not home situation. And there's this thing where your EV battery might not love being cycled every single day for your house. And really, V2H doesn't mean V2G. Backup power isolates your home. Exporting to the grid is a separate program and usually needs utility approval. So we're going to break this down, not with theory, but with actual installs we've done. And I'm going to tell you exactly who should go V2H and who should just buy the battery. All right, first up, let's talk about the California situation because this is probably the most common scenario we see. So this is a family in San Diego County. They've got a 2,400 square foot house built in 2015. They already installed solar back in 2019, 8.5 kilowatts on the roof, and they just bought a Kia EV9 in February. Now, San Diego gets wildfires, which means power outages. Sometimes they'll lose power for 12, 24 hours, so they wanted backup, but they're also on one of those time of use plans where electricity costs like 50 cents a kilowatt hour during peak times and 28 cents late at night. So they were thinking, hey, what if we could charge the car at night when it's cheap and then run the house off the car during the expensive hours? Makes sense, right? So we priced out the V2H setup for them. Here's what it looked like. Wallbox Quasar 2 charger plus power relay unit. That's the thing that lets you do whole home backup for approximately $6,440. Install labor, $2,200. Permits and inspection, $650. Total, $9,290. After 30% credit, approximately $6,503. Now, the install wasn't terrible, took 2 days. They already had a 200 amp service, so we didn't have to upgrade their panel. That saved them probably $4,000 right there. And this is important, they had to wait 3 weeks for utility approval. Because when you're pushing power back through your meter, the utility company wants to know about it. That's just how it works. Once it was running, it was pretty sweet. That EV9 has a 99.8 kilowatt hour battery. You can use about 80% of it for home backup, so that's 80 kilowatt hours of storage. For reference, that's like 6 Powerwalls. During an outage, they can run their whole house for 2 to 3 days, easy. And on normal days, they're doing that time of use arbitrage thing, charging the car at night, pulling from it during peak hours, saves them about $45 a month. Not life-changing, but it adds up. Okay, so what about just buying a Powerwall? For a direct comparison, the Powerwall 3 hardware costs about $9,300, similar to the V2H hardware. But we're talking about total installed cost. For them, a fully installed Powerwall 3 system with the necessary gateway and permits would be around $15,950 before incentives. That's a nearly $7,000 difference upfront compared to the V2H setup. Here's the difference though, the Powerwall is 13.5 kilowatt hours, so it'll run their essential loads for maybe 8 to 12 hours. Whole home with the AC running, more like 4 to 6 hours, nowhere near the capacity of the car battery, but it's always there. They don't have to worry about whether the car is in the driveway. Like, think about it. If your husband drives the EV9 to work and there's an outage at 2 p.m., your house has no backup. The Powerwall doesn't care if you're at Costco. It's bolted to your garage wall. All right, so what did they choose? They went with the Kia EV9 V2H setup. Why? Couple reasons. One, they're both retired. The car's home 90% of the time. Two, wildfires don't just surprise you in California. You get warnings, red flag days. They know when to make sure the car is plugged in. And three, they love the idea of getting 6 times the capacity for basically the same price. We checked in with them some months later. They've gone through 3 outages. Longest one was 26 hours. System worked great. No issues with the car battery. They said if they had to do it again, they'd make the same call. So that's scenario one. All right, scenario two. Totally different situation. This is a family in Austin. Brand new house. Just finished construction end of 2024. 3,100 square feet, all electric. Heat pump, induction cooktop, the whole 9 yards. And if you know anything about Texas, you know the grid is, let's just say, unreliable. These folks lived through the 2021 freeze, Uri. They did not want to go through that again. So they're building this house and they're like, we want backup power from day one. What should we do? They were thinking about getting a Chevy Silverado EV and doing the GM Energy V2H thing. But the wife wanted a smaller EV for her commute. The Silverado's a beast. It's got a 170 kilowatt hour battery, which is insane, but it's also $57,000 and it's huge. So we priced it out for them anyway. Now, GM's current V2H bundle, the power shift charger plus the V2H enablement kit, plus the power bank and home hub inverter, that whole thing is running around $13,600 right now. Sometimes they do promos. Look, if you're already buying the Silverado, this is a no-brainer. That's a lot of backup capacity. You could run your house for like a week straight. And since they were building new, we could pre-wire everything, which saved them money. But again, the truck has to be home, and they didn't really want a truck. So we showed them a dedicated battery setup instead. 2 FranklinWH A-Power 2 units. 30 kilowatt hours total. Whole home backup. Can start their big 5-ton AC, no problem. Designed to work with solar, which they were planning to install anyway. 2 power 2 units, $19,800. Install, gateway, materials, $5,400. And permits, $600 total. $25,800. Yeah, way more expensive than the V2H hardware, but no car required, and it comes with a 15-year warranty. Okay, quick thing. If you're watching this and you're like, I have no idea which option fits my house, that's literally what we do. We're certified installers for all this stuff. Wallbox, Powerwall, Enphase, Franklin, the GM Energy System, all of it. We'll come out, look at your panel, look at your roof, figure out your usage, and tell you what actually makes sense. Not what some Reddit thread thinks makes sense. Links in the description. It's free. All right, back to Austin. So they went with the FranklinWH batteries, even though it was more expensive. Why? Because they didn't want to lock themselves into buying a specific vehicle. They ended up getting a Chevy Blazer EV for the wife, which doesn't do V2H. And the husband's still driving a gas truck for work. But the bigger thing was, they wanted backup power no matter what. Car at work? Backup works. Cars at the mall? Backup works. That peace of mind was worth the extra cost to them. We followed up with them some months later, too. They've had only one outage, which was 13 hours. System worked perfectly. Their solar panels kept the batteries topped up during the day. They said their summer electric bill is now almost zero. Fair. All right, so what did we learn? Scenario 1, California solar family with an EV. V2H made sense because they're home most of the time, and they wanted massive capacity for cheap. Scenario 2, Texas new build. Dedicated batteries made sense because they wanted set it and forget it backup, no matter where their cars were. So here's the pattern. V2H makes sense if you already own or are buying a compatible EV. Your car is home most of the time. You want a ton of capacity without spending $40,000 on multiple batteries. And if upfront cost is your main concern. Dedicated battery makes sense if you want backup that works whether your car is home or not. You've got medical equipment or other 24/7 needs. You want solar integration and ongoing savings. You don't own a big EV or don't want one. And look, the honest answer is it depends on your situation. There's no universal best choice here. It's about your home, your usage, your cars, your risk tolerance. Now here's what I didn't cover in this video, and this is going to be a whole separate thing. Portable batteries that claim to do whole home backup. I'm talking about the EcoFlow Delta Pro Ultra, the Anker Solix F3800. These huge portable systems that cost 10, 15 grand and supposedly replace a Powerwall. People keep asking us like, can I just buy one of those instead of doing a permanent install? And the answer is complicated. There's permitting issues, there's code compliance stuff, there's some wild warranty fine print. So if you want us to break that down, like actually dig into whether those things are legit or just expensive camping batteries, drop a comment. If we get enough interest, that'll be the next video. And if you're sitting here thinking, okay, cool, but which one should I get? How you'd seriously just reach out. We do free site assessments. We'll look at your electrical panel, your roof, your solar situation, your cars, whatever. We'll run the actual numbers for your house, not some hypothetical. Links in the description. We're Integrate Sun. We're certified for all the major brands I talked about today. No pressure, no sales pitch. We just tell you what makes sense. All right, that's it. If this was helpful, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.